Good morning. How are
Mhm.
everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's waiting for Brenda.
Where are you, glamorous Brenda?
Good morning, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. We appreciate it.
Yes, we
How are you
do.
doing this morning, Jennifer?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Have a
Got my
full day ahead of
coffee.
me.
Me too. Well, we have a class at 11, and then I have 9 counter offers to write,
Oh my goodness.
and that's going to take some time, but
Yeah. So why
hey,
don't you tell us a little bit about your listing? Um,
the
there's a listing in Rancho Cucamonga, which wasn't in the best shape, right?
right.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we got a total of 21 offers. It's a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, just a little over 1,200 square feet, located close to Victoria Gardens. We had brokers open this weekend. Nicole and you and I were there, and we had lots of people coming through, lots of agents that we recognize. So that was fun to see people and connect with people. It's always good to know other agents in the industry. Um, so we have a lot of competitive offers. I only got one FHA offer, which came in right at the deadline last night at 5 o'clock. I was surprised. I expected more FHA offers. You and I went over, I think, about 9 or 10 of the offers I had, and they were all conventional, all good credit scores. Everyone had money. So it's going to be I think it is going to come down to price and appraisal removal at that point. Whoever is willing to take her terms and work with her will be the lucky winner. But we got offer as high as 680, and we were priced at 575. And these are
Oh
owner
wow.
occupied. Yeah, these are all owner occupied offers. I did have a few from investors, but they weren't up there in their price. And so yeah, it's exciting for my seller. Definitely so.
Yes, and she's moving out of state, right?
Yeah, she is planning to move
Good
to
morning.
Oregon.
Oh yeah.
So um, we were originally going to do a contingency on finding the replacement, but after talking yesterday, she knows for sure she wants to sell the home. So I told her I think it's best that we close and then we get seller stay in possession. We don't want to risk rates with buyers and then the buyer we choose may not be able to
Yeah.
afford it if we go too long in our escrow and those sorts of things. So that was something she was sleeping on, but I think that's the direction we're going to head with this one.
Okay. Good morning, Josie. Yeah,
Hi,
you know what?
Susie.
We need more time on that home because we need to find good homes for those plants.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I talked to her about that last night. I told her when I was leaving, I'm like, Sonia wants to come take some plants or clip some. And she's like, tell her to come over. So you are welcome to go over there to my
Okay,
mother's
awesome.
home and start picking your succulents.
I love succulents.
Yeah,
I
she has
know.
a
Good
ton of
morning,
them.
Karina. I know. I do too.
Hey,
I like them
Karina.
because they don't need
Much
so much
attention?
attention, and that's
Yeah,
all I could give right now. So
right. Yes, those are my kinds of plants. They don't need
yeah,
any attention.
and they add so much. When you a lot of our clients, when you go to their homes and you see that they have, it adds so much. It's because they're so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alia has she had posted some really beautiful ones not too long ago, and I was like, whoa, those are really, really pretty, colorful
Yes.
and succulent still. So I think I can
Yes.
manage succulents. I don't have a green thumb,
Yeah.
but
It's just getting super interesting. Last week I handed keys to a client who's 22 years old, whom I met when she was in sixth grade.
oh
Okay,
wow.
so she's 22 years old, and I handed her keys. I sold to her family, and And it was such a great experience, to be able, you're 22, you're starting, you're doing things. And it's funny because I was in the house with her dad by ourselves. They were still outside. And he says, I can't believe, my daughter's doing this. I can't believe that she can afford this payment. He's like, and I told him, you know what? It's because you're just remember back when we started, and he's like, oh, I can't remember that far back. I said, yeah, our payments at that time were $1,000, but even $1,000, 30 years ago, was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you don't really realize that, 30 years ago, we're at $3,000 now, it's kind
Yeah.
of what it is, so,
Yeah.
um,
It's just how it goes, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
when we bought our first house, our percentage was 9%. That was our interest rate, 9%.
yeah, same.
So it just it's just the way it
Yeah.
goes.
Good morning,
Hi,
Gabby.
Gabby. Mm.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So I've been just looking at, and I was talking to you about this, Jennifer. We were looking at prices. We're like, look at this $600,000 home in Rancho Cucamonga with an average tax rate. There's no,
Yeah.
special supplements or anything like our assessments. And
Uh-huh.
um, a first time buyer with 10% down is still looking at $3,800.
No, that's
And that's
crazy.
with 10% down. So that's like almost, 80, 90,000, so
Yeah.
you're like, and these buyers are there, they're
They're,
out there.
they are.
So yeah. And so that's why I say, it's really amazing. I know Francisco's helping one of his clients, he's doing a loan, for one of his clients that repeatedly comes back to him, and it's in Upland. Oh, no, it's in Claremont. It's 1,400 square feet, and it's 950. And
Mm,
and he's a young kid, but he's an engineer, smart guy. He's putting down like 250,000, and but his payment's still $4,400.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane. I don't
and
know. That gives me a panic attack.
and he's just like, okay, and but that just goes to show you where it's at, where it's
Yeah.
going. And people, we used to see, $2,200 payments for a long time. Then it got closer to 3,000.
Right.
Now we're in the 4,000. So now when your clients call you and you're like, oh, so what type of payment are you looking for? 2,200. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, right.
You already know. You're like, they're like, oh, I could probably do 4,000. You're like, okay, I can help you.
Yeah. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, very interesting. But
Yeah, I have my best friend's son, my nephew, I call him. He lives in Missouri. He called me last week. He's pre-approved for 250, and he thought 250 was a lot. He doesn't want to spend 250, and he was like, I could find a house in California for 250. I'm like, no, you cannot, David. Go buy that house right now before it's, no, you cannot. Just buy your house, hurry up, get, start building some equity. But I thought it was funny because
Like
yeah,
you could buy a mobile home with a space rent of $900 a month.
right? I'm like, maybe I should go buy a house. Maybe we should go invest out of state, and do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't invest here, if you can't afford, I mean, a lot of people do invest out of state. And I think that's a good idea. Just invest in real estate because no matter where it's at, it's going to bring you value later.
Inflation, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, well, we're going to get into our numbers because speaking of out of state, we do have a special guest with us today who is from out of state. So we want to get to her as soon as we can, so she
Okay.
can kind of give us information about her market.
Yes.
And so in Chino right now, we have 20 active listings on the market, 47 under contract, 45 closed. You're still getting more than what you're listing at, man. Chino right now is pretty hot too.
Bless you.
So we actually placed an offer on a property in Chino. I actually know the agent pretty well, and he called me and he said, "Look, so I'm gonna be very honest with you. We are getting 100 and almost 50,000 over asking.
Wow.
Crazy. Yes, it's he says, my clients wanted to spend the whole weekend really regrouping and thinking if that's something that they want to do because they almost feel like they're taking money that doesn't belong to them. So
Yeah.
that was pretty interesting to hear him say that. So I don't know what they ended up doing, but he listed at 650 and they were close to 800 for like a 1200 square foot home. It's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So seeing it happening, I mean, it was upgraded and it was gorgeous, but the living space is still small.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll move on to Ontario, which, like I said, is also a really strong market right now. 42 listings on the market, 82 under contract, 71 closed. Again, average sales price versus list is definitely still over. Homes averaging the days on the market. To be honest, I really don't even look at that because they're really not on the market that long. The reason they are is because most agents only show on the weekend, during an open house. So there's a few days there, and then it takes them another 4 or 5 days to go through offers, and you're countering. So, but
Yeah.
typically, to be honest, I remember a time, I want to say about 2011 ish, the homes were on the market seriously for 10 minutes, 30 minutes before an offer was received. It was crazy.
Wow.
So it's kind of reminds me of those times, except here, they push out the showing dates before you could go show it immediately. So kind of reminds me of how things were, at that time. So we move on to Harupa Valley, 19 active listings on the market, 39 under contract, 40 closed. And again, you're getting more than what the value is. Harupa Valley is definitely growing. There's a lot of people out there, selling to move to different places. I left and I love it. I'm so happy. So it's definitely a rural area. So,
All
Brenda.
right. And then we have Rancho Cucamonga. We have 93 new listings, 127. Hello, dyslexia this morning. Pending and under contract. And then 18 days on the market with your average list price at 803, average sale price 822, and number of homes sold 573. And then we have San Bernardino, 82 new listings in San Bernardino, 135 pending, 16 days on the market, average list price 486, and your average sale price 503. Still selling above list price, and the number of homes sold in San Bernardino, 133. And then we have Redlands, 37 new listings in Redlands, 41 pending, 14 days on the market, and average list price 738, average sale price 752, with 60 homes sold in Redlands. And then we have Highland, 18 new homes listed in Highland, 35 pending and under contract, 12 average days on the market, average list price 538 with your average sale price 556. When did we say we were going to do that comparison from like last year to this year?
I think we were supposed to do it this time.
Okay. We'll do it next time. But I'm very curious to see. I think I'm going to do it for myself, maybe today, just because I watch this market, daily, and I do know that this average, obviously, on most areas is extremely higher than it was a year and a half ago. So yeah, number of homes sold 40 in Highland. So
We have Colton. We have 10 active listings on the market, 36 pending, 23 closed. Average list price of 478, average sale price of 493 with 14 days on the market. And the high 400s and even the low 500s in Highland seems affordable now, right? I mean, it seems like, oh, wow, that's cheap.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Next, we have Rialto. We have 29 active listings on the market, 50 pending, 57 closed, with 516 being the average list price and 535 being the average sale price, with 14 days on the market. Hi, Katie. And Fontana, we have 76 active listings, 122 pending, 126 closed. Average list price of 636, average sale price of 663, with 15 days on the market. And that's your Fontana update.
Yay! Your Fontana wins update.
Yeah.
I think that's funny. So I know a lot of people are, still, hoping and hopeful for, the market to, all of a sudden, houses be slashed half price, and that type of thing. And believe me, I'm with you, but unfortunately that's not what we see, happening from our point of view. Definitely we see things, there's not as many offers. I wouldn't say things have slowed down because the homes are still flying off the shelves. And Jennifer's, I was real curious because most of these homes are, in great condition. So it's no wonder, there's so many people lined up to buy them. But Jennifer just proved, when you price a home right for its condition and you allow the buyer to drive up the price, it's happening. And, people are still willing to buy that and, work on it as they go. So, there's buyers for everything out there, so, everybody wants an opportunity to have, home ownership, and some can afford it to be completely renovated and pay the price and others can't. But there's definitely still, a huge market, of buyers out there, looking to buy. And like I said, most of the buyers we talk to all have a great down payment. I just remember there was one time, just several years ago, where people were like, they wanted to all take advantage of down payment assistance. I don't really see that.
Yeah.
There's very few, maybe 1 in 20 people that I speak to ask about it. For the most part, they have, 10, 15, 20% down, that they could either get as a gift from family, or they've saved 401k,
Yeah.
stocks, investments, whatever, or they're moving up, or moving down. We have a lot of VA buyers right now that are putting 50% down. And on a VA, you don't have to put anything down, but these VA buyers obviously want to have a lower payment. So they have the money and they're able to put down, two, three, $400,000 on their properties. So there's buyers everywhere. Make sure, if it's something that you guys are thinking about doing, but you're not sure how to do it, um, speak to a professional, get the advice. Or even if it's an investment, you're thinking about investing. Like I said, we're going to have Michelle on here in just a second here. And, she can talk about, where she's from. And, I know a lot of people travel and, go out there for vacation, because I know when I see her on some of her videos, it looks beautiful, out there. So hopefully one day she'll show us around. So let me go ahead and
business trip out there.
yeah, business trip.
Mandatory meeting.
Yes. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you take it away. Tell us about yourself and just give us as much information as you'd like. We can't hear you. Wait.
Let me unmute.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi.
I normally don't have like tinsel behind me, but I had a big birthday this weekend. And
Yes. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
My family went all out. So I figured this was a good backdrop today.
Nice.
So my name is Michelle Belisari. I am an agent in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. I'm with Real Broker, and I service the Broward and Palm Beach County area. So Boca Raton is in between West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. We are about an hour north of Miami. So I do go down to Miami occasionally. I love it down there. And Boca is very well situated because I can service areas all over Palm Beach County, which is a very long county. And, Florida is a great place to be right now. We are very popular for a few reasons. starting with we are a no state income tax state. People love that. And our weather and lifestyle is simply, fantastic. We have a big tech push right now, which you Californians probably are seeing some of the companies that are starting to really look hard at Miami and the Tri-County area, including Boca Raton and West Palm Beach. So we've got a lot happening. It's Miami Tech Month, and Emerge Americas just wrapped up their conference down in Miami Beach. And so, we're going to see a lot more of the South Florida area really being a tech hub, tech attractor. One of the nice things about Boca is that we are close to pretty much all of these larger cities. And we're getting a Brightline station here in Boca, which for us that's the connector of a fast train. So they've got one in West Palm, one in Fort Lauderdale, building Aventura, and Miami. So Boca's that one last piece. So next year for Emerge Americas, I'm taking the Brightline down because traffic is terrible, on any given day on I-95, just like what you guys deal with. We have a lot of investors here, a lot of short-term rental activity. We've got something for everyone. Our price points definitely range, and our for Boca, for example, our inventories for the month of March was like 1.2 months of inventory. The average sale price was 1.2 million. The median sale price was 875, and there was 203 closed sales. There were 310 new listings. And then for townhouses and condos, that's where I do say, especially for first-time home buyers, millennials, and I'm a mom of millennials, this is what you all need to probably be looking at versus single-family home at this point. Because, and this price point, by the way, for Boca is a little high, but it's like this around South Florida. It's just gotten very pricey. But an average sale price for a condo is about 500,000. Median sale price is 355, but you can still find those, more affordable properties, townhouse, villa, condo, right? There's inventory out there that agents can tap into, like probate, like seniors that are downsizing, empty nesters that are downsizing. So I'm very big on saying, hey, create your own inventory. Stop complaining about it. Stop putting that out there as the narrative, because that to me is a negative. There's property out there. Go find it. Go find it.
Very true.
Yes, absolutely. Agree. So I heard you talk about short-term rentals. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, most of your properties that are short-term, are they on the beach? Or where are they more inland?
It just depends. I'm watching people here who specialize in that. My niche is not that, but I am going to start learning really the ins and outs of that as an option. I think it really depends. Depends on what city you're in, who allows them. Some locations do not allow them, and that's a tricky thing for an agent, because you definitely want to know what's allowed, what's not allowed, and be the resource to the resource, right? I think it's very hard to look at condos as short-term rentals because there's so many restrictions to that. So single-family homes, townhouses. I'm definitely seeing people doing a lot of short-term rental activity up in Orlando because of Disney World and Universal and whatnot. So I think there's a lot of opportunity with that. It depends on your price point if you want to be close to the beach,
Yeah.
But I think it just really depends. And then how much work does a property need? Because, some of these properties have been owned for a long time. And as you all know, a lot of times there's deferred maintenance. things need to be done. So there's opportunities with those different types of properties for sure.
Yes, good. So I know I got to meet Michelle during COVID.
Yeah.
So during COVID, we started joining all these groups, because we agents needed, someone to vent to and,
Yeah.
what's going on. So it was kind of nice because she put together this group of agents, from different states, and everybody just kind of got together and, brainstormed and, bounced ideas off one
Yeah.
another. And we actually did really well, for being stuck at home.
We did, considering,
Uh,
I'll tell you, there's always a silver lining to everything, even though at the time you may not realize that. And I like to say, as a midlifer that just turned 60, I look back at things and, sometimes the failures and the frustrations that we have as agents don't make sense at the time, but how we take that and learn from it is important, even in our personal lives when we have things go sideways. And that's sort of how I got into doing more listings than buyers, was sideways circumstances. Housing market crashed, the financial markets crashed, my husband had an accident. And I was like, I just don't have the bandwidth to run around with buyers the way that I had been. I started off hard as a first time home buyer specialist, which I love, right? And you do get to a point where you're like, okay, I got to figure out how to leverage my time. And then how do I stand out from the crowd? Oh, thank you. Um, and I'm in the Botox capital of the world, but I haven't had any yet. No shame in that game either, my friends. You do boo, like whatever. But it when things happen, you kind of go, okay, how do I get through this? And then who am I surrounded with who are speak candidly and say, enough already. You've been dealing with this for how long? Move on. Let's go on
Yeah.
to something else, right? So that's how I got into doing probate properties and working with seniors. So that was those funnels, right? In 2017, 2018, I started my brand, #SoBoca. And SoBoca.com is a website that I started. I started doing influencer marketing because I love where I live, loved showcasing nonprofits in my area. And it kind of has taken a life of its own on social media. And it has worked to my benefit in real estate. Originally, it was just a creative outlet. And then a very good friend of mine said, "What are you doing? Start showcasing more real estate on that bad boy." And I said, "Okay." So I did. And I started my YouTube channel, and then I started getting, leads from that. And as you learn these things, you go, okay, let me leverage this. Let me not do this. Where do I need to be? Who's my audience? When COVID hit and we're a year into it, and this little silly app called Clubhouse showed up, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let me jump on, as Chelsea Pite says. And 5 days later, you binge listening to people on there. It has been the best, I think, app I've ever used in my life. I've closed business from it. I've made I've made great friendships from it. I've met several of the women and the guys in person at a meetup. Um, so don't not try things because you think you're not techie enough, you're too old. Um, Always maintain that child, interest, that, oh, let me jump on. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I'll tell you what, it has just been a game changer. And so one of the things I did do in 2021 is I did switch companies. That was something that I was interested in doing. Had a great ride at Remax for 9 years, but different things come about, and you go, maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that. So it's just keeping your options open and not using age as a reason why you don't try something, you don't go to a conference. Go to conferences now if you're comfortable. It's a great place to be, a great place to meet people, network, and really understand that agent to agent referrals are huge. They're a huge part of my business. And so, cater to that. I think really what I see on TikTok more than anything is the agents are catering to other agents for a variety of reasons. That's smart marketing. I'm on there. Most of the stuff I talk about is for agents for a number of reasons. Clubhouse, that's agent to agent. So if I'm getting referrals, especially being in South Florida, why wouldn't I go on those platforms and really talk to those agents? Say, this is what happened to me today, or if I were a new agent, this is what I would be doing, or this is a strategy that I'm using in my business. And oh, by the way, if you don't like video, that's okay, because here are 5 other things that you can do to market and brand yourself as the go-to realtor in your community.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that advice, to a lot of agents in our office are afraid of video and stuff. So you're inspiring, they're watching, I hope they're watching, and, we'll just go for it.
I will be the one agent. I'm not, well, there's a few of us. Look, here's the deal too. If you don't like how you look and you want to use a little filter, I'm giving you permission. I'm fine with that. And for the 25, 30-year-old coaches and agents out there go, if you use a filter, you're not being authentic. You know what I have to say about that? I'm like, really? When you're my age, then we'll have that conversation. But if it makes you get on video, as long as I can recognize your face and I can see you, and if I meet you in person, I'm going to, recognize you, have at it. Who cares? As long as your message is good, your information is good, you're solid at what you do. There's been a big conversation about this. Oh, filters, you're not authentic. I'm like, really? Who came up with that crap? You know what? Just go for it. Have fun with it. Get on video. Start with 15 seconds. Don't like it, delete it. My girls got me on Snapchat in 2016. Why? Because I yelled at them, cursed at them literally, and said, get me off of there. And they said, well, actually, Mom, you might like it. And so then I started to learn it, and I started to out-snap them, and they're like, really? I'm like, really? So, and that's, again, social media is how you meet so many great people. So I met so many good friends. My friend Sue Picky Benson, you guys know Sue, Chelsea Pites, Dustin Broom, Shannon Milligan. I can just keep naming people from Snapchat. And it just, years later, we're still like, wow, thank God for Snapchat, because it really set us off on the right journey to do video and to do content, and then understand, oh, this is what Gary Vee says. Oh, this is what Jesse Peters and Michael Thorne teach. Okay, great. Then you move where we are now. It's like TikTok. Okay, who can I look at TikTok? And I'm thinking, oh, look at Glenda Baker. Like, oh, that's cool. You don't have to dance. You don't have to look like an idiot on there to have great content. Not that you look like an idiot dancing, because I've clearly done that. But I would rather just be me, And we had a whole conversation this morning, I think it was on Clubhouse, about, cursing in your videos and stuff. Look, if that's who you really are, your audience is going to love you. If that's not who you are, don't be somebody you're not.
Yeah.
But just understand that there are going to be people who might get offended. But if that isn't your concern, don't worry about it. Be you.
Love it.
Absolutely. Well, we have someone who's asking, yes, be you. We have someone who's asking a question, more or less. I mean, obviously the prices vary, but what would you say is the average payment in your county, I guess is what they're asking.
That's a good question. I honestly don't have a good answer for you. I mean, interest rates are still historically low. I think that's another thing we need to, a narrative should not be, oh, interest rates are rising. Well, interest rates are, but they're still historically low. And if you purchase now, this is what it's going to be. If you wait, and the chances of it going up are going to be one thing. I honestly don't have a good answer for that, mainly because I'm so much on the buyer side, or on the seller side. So, I think it really depends. I can tell you that rents here are extraordinarily high, like crazy high. If people think they're going to sell and then go rent reasonably, they're up 35%. So I already told my daughter who lives in Fort Lauderdale, I said, just wait for it. Your landlord's probably going to raise your rent $500. So
Yeah.
you're going to be in the 2,200 range with you and your roommate. So, you know, that it's going to be, it's a problem. Affordable housing right now is a problem. And I don't know how we're going to fix it because it's been an ongoing problem that is now an epidemic of people that need to rent because they can't afford to purchase a home. Yet, you know, I watched that 60 Minutes interview about the companies that are corporately buying these homes saying rentals are the new American dream for millennials. And I'm like, what is he smoking? Like, seriously, my girls don't want to rent forever. They're 26 and 32. Like, that's ridiculous, but they're spinning it. It's a spin. It's a PR spin. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it's normalizing renting because we're buying up all the houses, you know? So again, that's why I say try to create your own inventory, you know, through untapped listing niches. Get to know those niches, divorce, downsizing, and, you know, death, probate, you know? Delve into that and create your own inventory so that you're not up against this multiple offer thing all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, prospecting is super important. And like I said, there's a lot of people, it's timing. You know, it's timing. And there's a lot of people who want to ask but are afraid to
Yeah.
because they feel that they're obligated once they ask. You know, like they're going to be tied to, you know, whatever they ask. So
Right.
they'd rather go online and Google or go on these other sites that, you know, obviously track that they're there. So then they start getting calls anyways, you
Yeah.
know, from people that, you know, really may not have their best interest. So it's super important to, if, you know, if there is someone that you trust or you just have that question, you know, just reach out, you know, reach out.
out and ask each other for help. I did a post on my real estate website. It's called sipsocialsell.com. And it basically is, you know, are you getting what you need? Are you asking for help? You know, it's okay to ask another agent for help. I think picking someone's brain excessively isn't fair, but I think it's okay to ask for help. Hey, um, you know, what do you think the best way is to start farming a neighborhood? Oh, okay. Well, here's what I'm going to say. If you have Remime, use that if it's in your MLS. If not, go to the tax roll and find the 30 houses that were bought 40 years ago. Now you're talking seniors, typically boomers, empty nesters, might be some probate in there. Reach out to those 40 houses consistently, or condos, or whatever it is, you know, in your community. If you're on a tight budget, that solves your budget problem. Go knock on those doors if that's your jam. You know, phone calls are your jam, that's your jam. I don't typically do that, but people are very successful with that.
Yeah.
So you just have to find out like what your level of tolerance is for how many doors you want to knock on or how many calls you want to make, you know? And I think the other thing is everybody's different. You have solo agents and you have teams. And so you also have different personalities. Some agents are ADD like me. Like it's like time blocking. I can time block to a point and then I've got 25 tabs open on my computer, you know? So it's like, no shame in that. It's like what works for you may not work for someone else, but try some different things and ask for help.
Absolutely. I agree. And that's why there's business for everybody out there. That's why there's so many agents that are successful.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody does things differently. Everybody likes different things. Everybody, you know, finds business different ways. You know, it's just, and there's no right or wrong if it works for you.
No.
Like she said, find your jam, you know,
Find your jam
Yeah.
and learn how to list. Agents right now have been very buyer dependent and they're starting to really suffer from that. You know, it's been going on. Let's face it. Multiple offers, writing contracts, agents are exhausted. And I remember years ago, agents that were older than me said, well, I list because I control the market and I control my time. And that's very important, especially at certain stages in your life. You
Yeah.
have some control. We as agents have some control, but sometimes we forget that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We enjoyed you, just speaking to you and just
Thank
your
you.
vibe and everything else. And I think everybody's going to start saying to find your jam.
Find your jam and listen to your kids. So I got to say this, my kids got me into buying the Shein brand. Who's ordering from Shein yet?
Oh, Sheen.
Love it.
You know what? I haven't. I've been hearing a lot about it.
$10.
Yeah.
I love to thrift. All right, guys, I got to get like a picture. So let's look all nice and smiley. Got it. Thanks for having me on.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Yes. Thank you
Awesome.
for joining us. And we will see. We'll definitely call you back for sure.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I love talking about personal branding and listing niches. Those are my two main topics that I love talking about. I'm a big fan of agents specifically having a personal brand, like #Soboka, personal business brand. If I walk in a room, nobody even calls me Michelle. They just go, oh, it's Soboka. Yes, it is. So thanks again, ladies.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, you guys. Well, it's been a great show. Thank you guys for joining us today. We have a lot in store, so we got to get going and help all those out there that need our help. So have a great afternoon, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.